There is a part of you that you cannot see, but it sees everything. It remembers everything. It's not loud. It doesn't shout, but it decides almost everything you do. This is your unconscious. It's the invisible blueprint behind your choices, behind your attraction, behind your anxiety, behind your habits. And until you see it clearly, it quietly runs your life. You think you're choosing. You think you're in control. But most of the time, you're simply repeating patterns, repeating fears, repeating what feels familiar, even when it hurts. Freud said, "The unconscious is the true psychic reality." And he was right. Because the unconscious doesn't care about logic. It doesn't care about your plans. It's not interested in what makes sense. It's only interested in what feels safe, based on your past. Even if safe means staying stuck. Even if safe means being ignored. Even if safe means sabotaging your future. Let's break it down. Your unconscious is like a basement. It holds everything you never fully processed. Memories, fears, rejections, trauma. Beliefs you didn't choose but absorbed. Emotions you never gave space to feel. They don't disappear. They get buried. And from there, they shape your present. You keep chasing love from people who don't give it. Why? Because once upon a time, love felt like needing to earn it. You overthink every message, every silence. Why? Because once silence meant danger, and your body never forgot. You feel unmotivated, lost, stuck. Why? Because deep down, your unconscious still believes success means rejection, or visibility means judgment, or trying means failing again. It's not because you're lazy. It's because your mind is protecting you from something old. The truth? You can't outthink your unconscious. You can only learn to see it, name it, and eventually rewire it. Case in point, Emily. Emily was smart, driven. She had goals. But every time she got close to success, she pulled back. She'd self-sabotage, miss deadlines, ghost opportunities. What? In therapy, she discovered something. As a child, she had a parent who envied her confidence, who criticized her wins, made her feel unsafe for shining. So her unconscious made a rule. If I succeed, I'll lose love. Years later, that rule was still in play. She wasn't afraid of failing. She was afraid of succeeding. That's how powerful the unconscious is. It hides old pain inside new choices. You don't need to be in therapy to understand this. You just need to start observing. Notice your reactions, your triggers, your default behaviors. Ask yourself, why do I chase people who don't value me? Why do I shut down when someone gets close? Why do I always need to prove myself? Why does stillness make me feel guilty? These questions are the beginning. They shine a light in the basement. Because your unconscious won't reveal itself until you pay attention. And once you do, everything starts to shift. But don't expect a loud awakening. The unconscious speaks in symbols, dreams, instincts, resistance. It whispers through discomfort, and often through repetition. That same argument, that same attraction, that same disappointment is not random. It's a message. And the message is simple. Wake up. Look here. This is still unresolved. Here's something most people don't realize. The unconscious doesn't just hold your pain. It also holds your power, your intuition, your creativity, your authenticity, the parts of you you've silenced. So doing the inner work is not just about healing what's broken. It's about reclaiming what's hidden. You don't just stop suffering. You start becoming whole. But first, you need to accept this truth. Until you understand your unconscious, You are not fully choosing your life. You're reacting, repeating, performing. And that's not freedom. That's programming. So start noticing. Start pausing. Start asking, what am I really afraid of here? What part of me is still looking for permission? What did I learn about love, safety, worth? The moment you begin asking the right questions, your unconscious starts to loosen its grip, and that's when true self-awareness begins. You can't fix what you don't see. You can't change what you won't name. But the moment you become aware, you stop being a puppet, and you start becoming the author. Not of a perfect story, but of an authentic one. You say you want love, but you keep chasing people who can't give it. You say you want peace, but you get addicted to the chaos. You say you want connection, but you push away anyone who gets too close. Why? It's not because you're broken. It's not because you're unworthy. It's because your unconscious is playing a loop, and you don't even know it. Love to your unconscious isn't what's healthy. It's what's familiar. If your nervous system learned that love means being ignored, you'll chase silence. If love meant proving yourself, you'll fall for people who make you earn it. If love meant betrayal, you'll keep accidentally choosing those who lie. You call it chemistry. You call it fate. But it's repetition. You think, this time will be different. But it isn't. Feels different at first. But then, like always, you lose yourself. You shrink. You overgive. You settle. Or you disappear the moment it gets real. And deep down you ask, why do I always end up here? Here's the truth. Your patterns in love aren't about the other person. They're about you. And more specifically, they're about your unconscious conditioning around love, safety, and self-worth. Let's talk about Jess. Jess kept dating emotionally unavailable people. Smart, funny, magnetic, but always distant. They'd text her at midnight. Flirt but never commit. Always half in. Always just out of reach. She was frustrated. She thought, why can't I attract someone who actually chooses me? But in therapy she realized something chilling. Her father was the same way. There but not present. Loving but inconsistent. She always had to earn affection. So her unconscious made a connection. Love equals longing. Desire equals distance. That became her template. She wasn't attracted to what felt safe. She was attracted to what felt familiar. This is how the unconscious works. It's not logical. It's emotional. It follows patterns that were formed before you even had words. And it seeks out relationships that recreate the same feelings, just in a different costume. Think about it. Do you always feel like you have to prove yourself in relationships? Do you avoid commitment, even though you crave closeness? Do you attract partners who need fixing? Do you feel drained but can't walk away? These are not random. These are not just bad luck. They're unconscious scripts. And the scariest part? You'll keep repeating them until you become aware. But here's the hope. The moment you become conscious of a pattern, you create space. Space to pause. To choose differently. To stop chasing people who feel like home, when home was never safe. Another example, Leo. Leo was the nice guy. He gave too much, said yes when he meant no. Avoided conflict at all costs. And women always said, you're too good to be true. Then they'd leave. He felt confused, angry, rejected. But when he started doing inner work, he uncovered a core belief. I must please to be loved. He learned it from his childhood, where expressing anger meant punishment, where disagreement meant rejection. So his unconscious belief became, be nice, be needed, be agreeable. That's how you stay safe. but in adult relationships that didn't build love. It built resentment and disconnection. If you don't uncover these inner rules, you'll keep living by them, even if they no longer serve you. So how do you begin to break the pattern? Here are 4 steps to start. Notice the repetition. Who do you keep attracting? How do these relationships feel in your body? What roles do you always end up in? Name the emotion. What core emotion do these relationships trigger? Abandonment? Shame? Invisibility? Connect it to the past. When was the first time you felt this feeling? Who taught you love had to feel this way? Interrupt the pattern. Start doing what your old self feared. Say no. Set a boundary. Stay when you want to run, or walk away when you're clinging. Every time you act differently, you rewire your unconscious. You send it a new message. This is what safety looks like now. This is what love feels like now. Healing isn't about never being triggered. It's about learning to respond, not repeat. It's about choosing connection, not compulsion. It's about building love, not reenacting your wounds. You want different love? You need to become a different version of you. Not in a fake way, but in a conscious way. You can't attract what's healthy if you still crave what's familiar. So next time you feel chemistry, ask yourself, is this person safe or just familiar? Because your unconscious doesn't care if you're happy. It just wants you to repeat what you survived. But you're not here to repeat. You're here to grow, to choose, to become someone new. You feel anxious. Your chest tightens. Your stomach flips. You can't breathe deeply. You can't focus. Your thoughts spiral. And worst of all, you don't know why. You tell yourself, stop overthinking. There's nothing wrong. Just calm down. But it doesn't help. The more you try to suppress it, the louder it gets. Why? Because anxiety is not just in your head. It's in your unconscious. It's not random. It's not weak. It's not irrational. It's a message. Freud once said, anxiety is the signal of danger to the psyche. And he was right. Anxiety is your unconscious yelling, something doesn't feel safe. But here's the twist. It's not always about now. It's often about then. You're not anxious about the present. You're anxious because the present feels like the past. Like a time you were unsafe, or powerless, or unseen. The present situation might be small, but it activates something old, something buried, something unresolved. Let's say you get ghosted after a date. You feel like you can't breathe. You obsess. You spiral. You think, why does this hurt so much? It was just one person. But it's not about that person. It's about the meaning your unconscious attached to it. Maybe deep down, it echoes a wound. I'm not worth staying for. People always leave me. I'm not lovable unless I perform. It's not the text. It's the story you don't even know you're telling yourself. This is how anxiety works. It's a flare sent up by the unconscious. A warning. A protest. A memory in disguise. And the more you try to suppress it, the more chaotic it becomes. Because your unconscious isn't trying to destroy you. It's trying to protect you. Even if its methods are outdated. Let's take a real case, Mia. Mia was 26, ambitious and driven. But every time her boss gave her feedback, she panicked. She'd freeze. Her heart would race. She couldn't sleep for days. She knew it wasn't rational. Her boss wasn't cruel. The feedback was useful. But her body reacted like she was under attack. In therapy, Mia uncovered the truth. As a child, any mistake led to punishment. Criticism meant shame. Her worth was tied to being perfect. So now, even as an adult, any feedback equals danger. Even if she knew better, Her body didn't. Her anxiety wasn't wrong. It was loyal. It was trying to keep her safe, according to a blueprint she never chose. That's the paradox of anxiety. It often comes from a younger version of you, a part of you that never got to feel safe, a part of you that still thinks danger is everywhere. You don't heal that part by silencing it. You heal it by listening to it. So the next time you feel anxious, try this. Step 1. Pause the reaction. Don't run. Don't numb. Don't analyze. Just pause. Close your eyes. Take a breath. Ask yourself, where do I feel this in my body? Let it speak. Let it exist. Let it be uncomfortable. Your body has wisdom your mind forgot. Step 2. Name the fear, not the surface fear. The root fear. What am I truly afraid of? Being abandoned? Being rejected? Being seen and judged? Losing control? Anxiety always protects something tender. Find that tenderness. Step 3. Trace it back. When was the first time you felt this? You might remember a memory, a moment, a relationship, or even just a feeling. This is where the unconscious stores its messages, not in words, but in sensations, in emotional echoes. Step 4. Reparent the wound. Ask yourself, what did I need back then that I never got? Safety? Validation? Comfort? Permission to feel? Now give it to yourself. Put your hand on your heart. Say, I see you. You were never weak. You were scared. And it makes sense. This may sound small, but it rewires your internal world. It tells your unconscious, we're not in danger anymore. And slowly the anxiety softens. Because here's what most people miss. You can't think your way out of anxiety. You have to feel your way through it. Your anxiety isn't broken. It's overprotective. It's doing its job. But you're the adult now. You get to say, thank you, but I've got this. Real life moment. A guy named Alex messaged me after one of my workshops. He said he'd lived with high-functioning anxiety his whole life, always on edge, always productive, never at peace. He thought he was just wired that way. But when we dug deeper, he found a belief he didn't even know he carried. If I slow down, I'll fall apart. That belief came from growing up in a chaotic household, where stillness meant danger. So anxiety became his way of staying vigilant. See? But that belief was no longer true, and when he realized that, he cried. For the first time, he felt what safety actually feels like: stillness, presence, enoughness. Your anxiety isn't your enemy. It's your inner child screaming for attention. It's your nervous system asking, can we stop pretending everything's fine? Can we finally feel what we've buried? You want peace? Don't bypass your anxiety. Befriend it. It's not the problem. It's the portal. We often confuse discipline with force, with control, with self-denial, with pushing harder, doing more, feeling less. But here's the truth. Real discipline isn't about suppression. It's about integration. It's not about beating down your impulses. It's about understanding them and choosing consciously. Most people try to fix themselves through punishment. They say things like, stop being lazy. Why are you so emotional? Get over it already. Be more productive. Be more perfect. But this doesn't heal anything. It just creates a war inside you, a war between your conscious will and your unconscious pain. That's not self-discipline. That's self-rejection. Let's make this clear. Your unconscious doesn't want to ruin your life. It's trying to protect you. That part of you that procrastinates, it might be protecting you from fear of failure. That part of you that sabotages relationships, it might be afraid of being vulnerable again. That part of you that numbs with dopamine loops? It might be trying to escape feelings you never learned how to sit with. Every pattern you call bad was once a survival strategy. True discipline begins, not with force, but with curiosity. Instead of, why am I like this? What is this part of me trying to protect? Instead of judging your inconsistency, what part of me still doesn't feel safe to grow? Because guess what? Your unconscious has reasons for resisting change. Real ones. And until you integrate those parts, discipline will always feel like punishment. Let's take a real-life example. Lena, 29, wanted to wake up early and work on her dream project. Every night she said, "Tomorrow I start." Every morning she hit snooze. Again and again. She thought, I have no discipline. I'm weak. But when we looked deeper, we found the truth. As a child, Lena's home was chaotic. The only time she felt safe was when she was alone in her room at night. Late nights became her only space to feel calm. So now, as an adult, her late-night scrolling wasn't just a habit, it was a trauma loop. And her resistance to waking up early? It wasn't laziness, it was protection. Her unconscious was saying, we don't feel safe in the daytime world. Stay here. She didn't need harsher discipline. She needed safety. She needed integration. When Lena started giving herself gentle structure at night and slowly reassociated mornings with calm, the resistance disappeared. Why? Because discipline stopped being an attack and became a choice. You don't become disciplined by rejecting your emotional reality. You become disciplined by embracing it and directing it. Discipline is emotional maturity. It's the adult in you saying, I hear your fear, but we're safe now. I know why you avoid this, but we can handle it. You don't have to disappear anymore. You get to show up. Think about it like this. Your unconscious is like a scared child, and your conscious self is the parent. What kind of parent do you want to be? One who yells, punishes, shames? Or one who listens, teaches, leads? Because your inner child won't follow a tyrant, but it will trust a leader. And that's what discipline is. Leadership over your inner world. Let's go deeper. You've probably said things like, why do I always self-sabotage? Why do I start and never finish? Why can't I just be consistent? Here's the uncomfortable truth. You don't trust yourself yet, because you're still operating from unconscious fear. Fear of failing, fear of succeeding, fear of being seen, fear of not being enough. And these fears don't disappear with a morning routine. They heal when you bring them into the light, name them, validate them, and then move forward with them, not against them. Discipline is not fight or flight. It's feel and choose. You feel the urge to avoid. You choose to stay. You feel the fear of showing up. You choose to take the first step. You feel the pull of the old pattern. You choose the new one. Not because it's easy, but because you've made peace with the part of you that once needed the old way. That's what integration looks like. Let's take another example. James, 33, kept getting into relationships that drained him. He always ended up doing everything, emotionally, logistically, financially. But he couldn't stop. Why? Because deep down he equated love with sacrifice. He grew up in a home where love meant giving up your needs. So his unconscious said, to be worthy of love, you must disappear. James didn't need better boundaries first. He needed to see the story he was living. He needed to integrate the part of him that feared being selfish. Only then could discipline show up, not as cold detachment, but as conscious care. He started saying no, not from anger, but from self-respect. That's integrated discipline. So how do you start practicing this? Step 1. Identify the pattern. What do you call undisciplined in yourself? Procrastination? Avoidance? Emotional outbursts? Addictive behavior? Start there. Step 2. Ask what it's protecting. What is this behavior doing for you? Avoiding failure? Avoiding intimacy? Avoiding stillness? All resistance is rooted in protection. Step 3. Connect with the younger self. What age first needed this pattern? What was happening in your life then? How can you speak to that part now with compassion? Step 4. Create new associations. Pair your new behavior with safety. Make waking up early gentle. Make saying no empowering. Make creating routines feel self-loving, not rigid. Step 5. Recommit with compassion. You will fall back into old patterns. You will feel resistance. But discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about returning again and again, with understanding, not shame. So next time you say, I just need to be more disciplined, ask yourself, have I integrated the parts of me that are afraid to change? Because if not, no habit will stick. Discipline isn't force, it's inner alignment. It's choosing to move forward, not because you hate who you are, but because you finally understand yourself. And that's when transformation begins. Most people are not living their life. They are living their conditioning, living their traumas, living their wounds in disguise. They think they're choosing, but really, they're reacting. Reacting to old pain, reacting to invisible fears, reacting to stories they never questioned. This is what it means to live unconsciously. You say you want love, but your unconscious still associates love with betrayal. You say you want success, but deep down you fear what it will cost you. You say you want peace, but your nervous system only knows chaos. So you keep ending up in the same loops. Different faces, same pain. Different jobs, same burnout. Different goals, same emptiness. Why? Because the shadow is still running the show. What is the shadow? It's everything about you that you've disowned, rejected, shoved into the dark. Your insecurities, your shame, your envy, your rage, your unmet needs. All of it lives in the unconscious, and all of it is silently shaping your decisions. Let me give you an example. Sophie, 31, was known as the nice one, always smiling, always helpful, always agreeable. But inside she was exhausted, resentful, invisible. One day during a session she admitted, I hate how people walk all over me, but I don't know how to stop it. If I speak up, I feel guilty. Why? Because as a child, anger was dangerous. Speaking up got punished. So she buried her assertiveness in the shadow. She became nice to survive. But as an adult, the cost was her authenticity. Her unconscious was still saying, if you're not pleasing, you're not safe. So she smiled through the pain, until her body, her relationships, her spirit couldn't carry it anymore. This is how the unconscious shows up. Not in loud, obvious ways, but in your subtle self-abandonment. In your silence when you should speak. In your apology when you've done nothing wrong. In your shrinking when the world needs your power. The shadow isn't evil. It's unhealed. And healing doesn't happen by force. It happens through light. So how do you bring the unconscious to light? You don't need therapy to start. What you need is honesty. Radical. Relentless. Honest. Step 1. Observe without judgment. Every time you react, pause. Not just externally. Internally. What did that trigger? What emotion is underneath? What am I trying to avoid right now? You're not just reacting to the moment. You're reacting to something older. Step 2. Track the pattern. What keeps repeating in your life? Same fights, same endings, same emotional crashes. There's a script playing. One you didn't write, but one you've memorized perfectly. Now it's time to rewrite it. Step 3. Name the emotion. Most people don't even know what they're feeling. They say, "I'm fine," when they mean, "I'm numb." They say, "I'm angry," when underneath they're scared. Naming your emotion is the first act of liberation, because what you can name, you can work with. Step 4. Go back to the first time. Ask yourself, when did I first feel this way? If you feel worthless when you're ignored, when did that start? If you panic when someone leaves, when did that pattern begin? Trace the thread back to the wound. That's where your unconscious got its script. Step 5. Speak to the younger self. This may sound strange, but it works. Close your eyes. Picture the version of you that first felt abandoned, or invisible, or ashamed. Speak to them. Say, "I see you now. You didn't deserve that. You're not alone anymore. You don't have to hide anymore." Because here's the truth. Your unconscious is not a monster. It's a wounded child waiting to be seen. Step 6. Choose consciously. Awareness is not enough. You must also choose differently. If your pattern is people-pleasing, start saying no, even when it feels uncomfortable. If your pattern is avoidance, start leaning into the hard conversations. If your pattern is perfectionism, let yourself be messy, human. Enough. This is how you reclaim your power. Let me share another story. Andre, 35, was obsessed with achievement. Degrees, promotions, medals. On the outside, he looked unstoppable. On the inside, he felt empty. One day he broke down. "I don't know who I am without the next win." We traced it back. As a boy, he only got love when he performed. A perfect report card? A hug? A mistake? Silence. So achievement became identity. Not because he was driven, but because he was afraid. Afraid that if he stopped performing, he'd be nothing. His unconscious belief? "I'm only lovable when I succeed." Once he saw that, he cried, not out of weakness, out of relief, because for the first time, he understood. The one chasing success was still the little boy begging to be seen. This is the power of making the unconscious conscious. You stop living from fear. You start living from freedom. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're not doomed to repeat the past. You're just carrying scripts that aren't yours, beliefs that aren't true, wounds that never got the light. But now you get to choose. You get to slow down, look inward, listen deeper. You get to become the author of your own life. This is not about perfection. You will forget. You will fall back. You will regress. But you